connecting now over to YouTube here. All right, there's going to be a delay on my channel of about, I think it's 10 seconds. Yeah, there it is. Cool.
I'm going to try and hook up this other thing then right now.
Yep. Okay, it says we're live.
Yeah.
Got my comments section open here.
Sorry, I gotta try and. I haven't done this in a while.
I don't think anyone's watching yet, so. No. Oh, we might have one person. Okay, there you are. I see on TikTok.
Yeah, I just ended. I'm trying to.
Okay.
Gotta try and remember how to invite.
Mish is saying we went early. Yeah, 4 minutes early, Mish. 4 minutes early. Okay.
I gotta remember how to try and do that.
Because shouldn't I be able to join your live?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, 1 second here.
Okay. Oh, someone's saying yes, I am. Karen is saying she was watching, and Mish is saying I don't think anyone's watching. Yeah, about that. What time is it in Australia, Mish?
Yeah, she's saying it's super early there.
Yeah, that's dedication. All right.
Oh, there we go. I found the button.
Okay.
You might be able to. Yeah. Host.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Send guest request. That's me.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
And that should work.
I'll turn my volume down over here.
Let's see how much.
There we go.
We might have a bad echo.
How do I fix that? Is it my? All right, hold on. If you're just watching, going, there's some technical difficulties here as we try to figure this out.
Let's see how this goes.
Where's it coming from? On my end? It's coming from me, isn't it?
It's gonna end that. Yeah, I don't think we can do that with 2.
Okay.
Oh, well, whatever.
All right. Well, we'll get the video from this. Maybe we can use it for something.
Yeah, I think we'd probably have to wear headphones to do that, so that there's not double audio.
Okay.
Oh.
Maybe we'll do a different one another day.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Well, if you're stuck through that part with us, thanks for joining my channel today. Today I've got my friend Clay, known as Aquatic Monkey, and on YouTube. He's one of my personal favorite accounts, and also just a good guy in general, and someone similar to myself. And so I was really excited to hear that he wanted to join. So I just wanted to introduce you. Most of you probably know him if you're on my channel, is looking for similar people like myself. And I just want to say hey. And I know we've been talking for a bit before this, but yeah, thanks for coming on today.
For sure. It's just super rare, honestly, to even find another Canadian that does anything like this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot in the States, and you got Mish and like Aussie, but yeah, no, there's very few Canadians that do any sort of stuff like this. Like, I have a pretty good group around where I live that either do scuba diving or free diving and spearfishing, but the whole kind of trash and treasure thing is pretty niche.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when did you start doing this?
I've done like swimming lakes and rivers most of my life around here, but about 2 years ago when kind of COVID kind of started, I wasn't working a whole lot, so that's when I actually started really filming some of this stuff.
Yep.
And I just had a lot of free time, and So I started filming and diving like honestly almost every day in the summer.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So I just went pretty hard in 2020, I guess, and then just kind of continued.
Yeah. And were you diving like pretty close to home, or were you traveling at that point for that
No,
stuff?
so I have quite a few lakes around where I live in Chilliwack, BC, and so there's like Harrison Lake, Cults Lake, Chilliwack Lake, and so I was going kind of everywhere around.
Yep.
And I would live a little ways from the ocean, so I do that occasionally, but it's a bit of a trek for me to get to the ocean.
Yeah. And you'd be going on the western seaboard, and is there like, I know the tides, I don't know, like are the tides I guess they'd be pretty strong out there on the ocean as well as our side?
Yeah, they can be. Our tides aren't as crazy as yours, but yeah, I'm not like super not familiar with the ocean, honestly.
Right.
I try to get out there when I can spearfishing, but I mainly dive in freshwaters.
Freshwater, right? And are those lakes that you're in? A lot of those are some of those glacier-fed lakes.
Yeah, so I have a couple really cool lakes that I go to. One's called Lindeman Lake. We have to hike into it. It's about half an hour, 45-minute hike up into the mountain.
Yep.
And it's just like this little basin. And yeah, in the wintertime it freezes, and then we'll like put a hole in the ice and we'll go diving in there. And it's pretty fun.
Oh man, that's something I've not done, but I've seen that video of you doing that. That's insane. I think I saw that even before I knew you, and I was like, dang.
That one went pretty out there. I ended up on a couple of news channels and stuff in the States too. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. I bet a lot of people had a lot of opinions about that. Obviously, everyone's got an opinion on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. When we were there, the ice was really thin. Like I couldn't stand on the ice. It would I'd fall through it.
Yeah.
It was like, and it was kind of slushy. It had a really thin layer of hard ice and then slush on the top. So as you can see, like one of my little TikTok videos that went pretty viral, I was able to punch through it like pretty easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it wasn't the worst. And like everything filmed, people don't realize that I'm like probably 3 feet from the edge of the ice most of the time.
Yeah.
And like if we weren't, it was places that it was just slush floating on the top. So you just swim up and you just pop your head through, and it was totally fine.
Right. You strike me as someone who's very safety conscious for what you're doing.
I can be. I have definitely a few things like one thing I get in trouble with every once in a while is I do a lot of diving alone, and you're really not supposed to. I think you kind of do some of that too.
Yeah, I'm guilty. So
I try not to, or if I go by myself, I stick less than 30 feet for diving because it's just less dangerous, I guess. Like you still shouldn't, so I don't recommend anybody like diving alone. But
that's what I always say. Yeah, like I do dive alone a lot. I have dove with people, but usually I'm in areas where there's houses around, there's government wharfs. Like I'm never put myself in like open sea.
That's a new level. But yeah, the one thing that I always get sketched out about is there's I won't swim in a river by myself. Anywhere with like fast current, because if you get like swept down, that's a whole new thing, and kind of like trapping hazards. Like you're just never going to be seen again, kind of thing.
Yeah. I went in a river once trying to recover someone's phone. It was like a $2,000 phone, and I underestimated the current of the river. And it was just when I got there, I was like, maybe I'll get lucky and I'll find it on the banks of where she was. And it was so strong, like I could stand up. It was only around my ankles, like when I stood in like the middle and maybe up to my waist in some parts. But it was so fast that I had her with me. So, but if I had done it by myself, that would have been a little more dangerous.
Yeah, so rivers are pretty wild. I have a pretty nice river that runs right by my house right now. Like I don't know if you see in the news how much flooding I've had around my place.
Yeah.
So Chilliwack's pretty messed up in Abbotsford, and even some towns like Merritt and stuff are just totally wiped out.
Yeah, I've been watching that along with the news, and I know like they're saying there's some couple more weather storms coming, like some rain.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So where I am is actually pretty good. Like my house is fine. I had a little bit of flooding in my house just because the sump pump was able to keep up. But my landlord came over and was awesome and brought an extra pump, and we got the water up. But yeah, my bathtub was full of water and all the drains had backed up. So that was kind of gross.
Oh man.
And then my kitchen was getting a bit wet because like the sinks and stuff had like overflowed. And so I had got off work and come home at 6:30 in the morning, and I was like, my house is wet. And I'm like, yeah, God damn it.
Yeah. We thankfully haven't had, nothing too bad out here. We just get hurricanes, like mad hurricanes.
Yeah, we don't get any of that.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, I guess, but not really. We have this huge Vancouver Island kind of blocks a lot of stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
I love, as I was saying, talking to you earlier, I love the giant fins in behind you,
Yeah.
and I love seeing your silver play button. That congrats on that again, by the way.
Yeah, pretty stoked for this thing. That's one thing I definitely where are we going here? That's definitely one thing I never thought I'd ever get.
It's so, yeah, I was so happy to when I saw that happen. I was just like so psyched for a fellow Canadian and a fellow YouTuber, and
Yeah,
it
thanks,
just
Colin.
shows like the hard work is paid off, right?
Yeah, it's just absolutely wild. Yeah, like I said, that's something I never ever thought I'd have. Like going into 2021, I was like, "Hey, my goal is to get 10,000 subscribers," and then, like I said, like a few months in, I just took off. Those like YouTube Shorts went wild. Like,
Yes. It's interesting. YouTube Shorts, like they're obviously trying to play catch up with TikTok right now.
yeah,
And
they're doing a pretty good job, honestly. The one guy that got me into this is I don't know if you've seen some of his videos. I was sending phones away to this guy.
okay,
So
no, I don't think so.
so some of the phones I was finding, I tried to get them back to the owner if I can't. I was sending them to the phone repair guru guy.
Yep.
He's in Canada too. So he's a pretty big YouTuber and TikToker now. I think he has 2 million subs on YouTube. So we ended up having a kind of a cool relationship. So I was sending him phones and stuff like that, and he's the one that got me onto the YouTube Shorts.
Yeah,
and, definitely a big bump for my thing. And he was kind of promoting my channel because I was sending him phones, and his thing was all like repairing stuff. And so these little collabs that you do with people, like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's awesome. And yeah, I love the two, like kind of, you kind of wove in, and I took some cues from you on like the storytelling aspect of finding the phone. So I remember one of my first ones, my first recovery was a drone at a waterfall pool. And I thought about, like, I watched what you were doing and how you were kind of like, it wasn't just you finding the phone or finding it, giving it to them, and that's it. Like you kind of like, you talked over the video, kind of explained what you did. You filmed like more than just the action of it, which was really cool. And I've tried that myself and it's worked.
Yeah. So I think you just posted today that iPhone return for the Shorts.
Yes.
I've seen that, but it's funny when I look at my older stuff, the first stuff I started posting, I just cringe right now. Like, yeah, I was finding phones and stuff, but it's like I'd put some music on and like mute my whole video, and it's just like just underwater me like picking stuff up, and then just video ends. It's just like,
right, yeah. Yeah, I learned a lesson. I don't use YouTube Music or those provided stuff for their Shorts because you can't monetize the video and you can't undo it. Like it makes it ineligible, and there's no option to even strip the audio.
So fun fact, YouTube Shorts, you can't really monetize them. Like you can. So the last 2 months, YouTube's actually came out with the Canadian version of the Creator Fund.
Yep.
So I'm starting to get paid a little bit from them now. But my first couple of videos, the one that got 21 million views, I think I got paid $34.
Wow. Okay, so yeah.
Don't worry about the monetization of like the Shorts when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind saying, like, I mean, since I've been monetized, I made $12.
Exactly. It's like nothing, right?
Yeah. I wonder though, at what point the threshold, like, I wanted to talk to you about this, is like when you went to monetization and then the subscribers came in, the watch time, like YouTube, they pay you through clicks, or do they pay you impressions that you generate for them? Or
it's a bit of a combination. So it's going to have your view time, but I mean, if it's so like your views, but if somebody only watches the first 10 seconds of your video, it's rather low. So depending on the length of your video, you're going to have more ads throughout it.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Okay. It's kind of a new thing I'm getting into. It's interesting. I think there was a point where I got so fixated on just getting to that point. I was just like making videos and not really thinking about it. I was just going and doing it to get to that point. And then now that I've kind of done it, I've been able to like step back and think, okay, what are some other new stories I can tell this year, or where are places I could go? What are different things I could film? And I was curious about you, like you have quite a variety of content, from finding lost items to finding, random things like your BB gun. And just kind of some of the more random stuff that you found that you've shown in your videos. I was curious, what are some things in 2022 that you are kind of hoping to make some video of or do?
One thing, I actually want to do some more traveling. Like I've barely left Canada. Like I went to Mexico once and a little bit in the States.
Yeah.
But I would love to do a couple trips like somewhere tropical and do some big diving out there. I'm nowhere near it, but I mean, like, you know, a couple years, if I could ever do this full time, that'd be amazing. I could travel wherever, dive, and just film, and that's kind of a small dream. That'd be pretty cool. But
that's a dream I have as well. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic it is for the time being, but that'd be pretty sweet.
I mean, people do it, right? Like,
yeah,
it is possible, but I'm sure there's got to be like other sources of revenue for YouTubers, because I mean, you're not only big here, you're on TikTok as well, which you can't make money, but at least you can. There might be opportunities
that's like
there.
the worst thing. So TikTok in Canada, for anyone watching, I don't know how many. I don't know if I can see how many people even watching on my channel or on my side. Whatever. But TikTok pays absolutely zero in Canada. You can't make a single cent. In the States, you get I think it's between 2 and 5 cents per 1,000 views. So again, not a lot, but I mean, like, I have several videos with a couple million views, so I'd be making a few $100s per video. But yeah, in Canada, you can't make anything, and it's kind of frustrating. Even like YouTube Shorts, they just opened it up, so I got a okay paycheck the other day from YouTube, which was kind of nice. But it's still a negative, like, as you could say, like, between like your gear costs and just driving to places. Like every video, you're in the negative, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's and the time you spend, you know, like, how far do you go typically? Like you said, you've got lakes around you, and it seems like there's no shortage of things lost.
Yeah,
or things to clean up.
I just moved to kind of across town in the last year here, but when I was on the other side of town, Cultus Lake is about a 10-15 minute drive, so nice and close. Chilliwack Lake and Harrison Lake are about an hour drive each. Then I could go to Vancouver, which is about an hour and a half, and then they have that coast there. But most of my ocean diving, I go to the island, which I try to go to the far coast island, so Chifino and Ukilit. But it takes about 7-8 hours for me to get there because there's a ferry ride. You have to wait for the ferry, and it's quite an actual drive. So
okay. So yeah, with all the stuff that you do, like all the trash and stuff you've taken out, what are some of let's talk about some of your finds, because it seems to be quite a variety, and it seems to be all over the place with what you got.
So like we were talking about earlier there before we went on stream here, the amount of like fake chains and jewelry I find is absolutely hilarious. Like, so none of these are real, like, you know, it's all stainless or whatever, but it's kind of entertaining. So I find a lot of that stuff at some of these popular lakes and stuff I go to. So Cultus Lake is one of the ones, like I said, the most, and there's quite a few docks, and throughout the summer people are jumping off the plane and they lose everything you could think of. So that's kind of fun. But I think one of my favorite things still is, like, we're talking about, is this BB gun I found. It's actually a Glock replica brand, and this thing is so realistic. Like, it's metal.
Wow.
Like, tell me that doesn't look real. Like
if you hadn't said it was a BB gun, I wouldn't have known.
So I've actually had quite a few TikTok videos removed because they think it's a real gun, but it just does the air canister in there.
They're pretty on that. Like, I posted my video, the first one with the shotgun that I found. It got taken down right away because I used the word gun. So
I don't understand it, because there's tons of videos of people actually shooting guns, and I don't comprehend why.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand their policy. And then I tried it again without using the word, and then it got taken down 2 days later. And then I tried again like a month later, and it got taken down. So
I had a compilation video of just me kind of showing some of my favorite finds, and that picture of me holding the gun was in like one of the photos, and I got taken down for illegal activities. But like, I have had so many strikes on TikTok. Like, for the past 2 months, I was kind of getting really annoyed, and I stopped posting to TikTok. So like, pretty much I barely did because I was just really kind of getting pissed off, honestly. I had a video earlier this last summer that I found a wallet. And I was like, hey, a cool wallet. And I messaged the owner because it has his ID in it. And he's like, oh, just in the garbage. I'd lost it 15 years prior. So it just had some old ID in it. The thing is that video got taken down for bullying and harassment.
What?
And I sent that like I'll kind of mad. I sent them an email being like, "Hey, like explain this to me. Like, what am I doing wrong here?" And they're like, just generic like, "No, this is a yeah, no, not allowed." I was like, "What do you think I'm stealing like walls from the fish or something?" Like,
oh my gosh.
I don't know.
We've got a couple people here who want to say hi. NorCal Metal Detecting is saying hi, everybody. And Mish is saying to your gun thing, that'd be illegal to own in Australia unless it had a bright orange end.
Yeah, so you can buy these at stores here. You have to be 18 and older to buy them. However, those kind of guns particular get used in robberies a lot because there's no way you could tell.
Right.
Like, I can see on camera here, but like it even has a large like kind of bore there. I don't know if you'll be able to see inside. So the actual BB barrel is like inset of it, so to make it look like even more real.
Wow.
It's
yeah.
That one's probably thrown in after somebody tried robbing somebody. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and then like the amount of trash. I mean, I can completely relate. I've pulled out tons on my own, and I've seen you pull out so much. More than I have. Like you've got teams of guys that you're with, which is awesome.
Yeah, so there's a few different groups I go with. So I don't know if you've ever followed or the North Shore Henry or Cleaner Lakes, his other channel is.
Yes, I have. Yep.
Yeah, so he's a scuba diver and he has his own kind of team, and I join them a lot. And like I do scuba dive sometimes, but I find free diving way more fun. Yeah. And where I live, it's about 45 minutes for me to fill a scuba tank. Like a drive away, like 45 minutes each way. So I don't really use my scuba tank very often because of that.
Right.
It's just kind of a pain, honestly.
Would you use scuba for like, are you interested in like, is there wrecks or ships in the lakes that you, or places you've had to get scuba because you are looking for something, you have to go deeper or?
So it's not so much deeper for me. I'm only certified like for my level 1 or like open water PADI. So I'm only supposed to go to 60 feet scuba diving anyway.
Okay.
And I can free dive that. So it's not a huge issue. I can't search for stuff at that depth. Generally, if something's more than 40 feet deep, and I know it's 40 feet deep, I'll take scuba gear because, like, if I'm searching for something specific, just because I can't search like 40, 50 feet for very long.
No, right. And I think you've put up a couple of videos or one where showing how long you can actually hold your breath.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's crazy impressive.
I have to say though, that's static. So when I'm actually actively diving, I'm probably not going to go any more than much more than a minute. Like I can. But at that point, I'm starting to really push myself. Mm-hmm. So when you're actively swimming and actively going up and down, you're using way more air, like and stuff like that. So probably close to a minute 20 is my most for actually actively diving. Yeah. But I can just go over 3 minutes for static.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I'm doing shallower diving myself for the stuff that I'm doing, but yeah, that's really cool. And like I love the variety of like I said, the stuff that you're finding and pulling out, like shopping carts to boats. You pulled an entire boat out of the water.
Yeah, so I'm at 3 boats this year. Pulled out. Those are small little boats. But you're saying about wrecks and stuff. So there are some like really small things in some of the lakes around me, but nothing like really worth filming, honestly. And there's quite a few wrecks in the ocean, but it's just like a heck of a drive for me. And then that's also scuba diving, and some of them are a bit deeper than others.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right on. That's
one scuba diving thing I want to get into though is starting to metal detect. Me and Mish were talking about that, and yes, scuba diving. Sorry. Metal detecting while free diving, it's really impossible. It's a big pain in like.
Yeah, I get that a lot. People say you should metal detect, Sean, when you're doing this. I'm like, I can't stay down and then metal detect. Like it'd be impossible. I mean, there's areas where it's shallow, but that's where I want to get. I don't know if you've heard of that device, that Nemo device.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of fun to try, in shallower depths, and it's just the price, the cost is just like, ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Just got to justify. That's why I need more money from YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. So I do want to find. We were talking recently about getting a metal detector for myself because I had that small pointer. Yeah. But I do want to get a larger one. So when you're scuba diving and you're shallow, like 20, 30 feet, your air you can like last like quite a while under because I don't know if you know much about scuba diving. When you go deeper,
Yep.
the more you breathe because it's more compressed.
Yep.
But when you're super shallow, like 20, 30 feet, you can stay for easily over an hour. But like, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because you're just one atmosphere down.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it kind of multiplies. So at like 60 feet, you're going to have probably about 1/3 as much time. Like, at least for me, like I'm not experienced, very experienced scuba diving. So I got to work on my breathing and stuff still, but very experienced guys can like stay down for quite a bit longer than me.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just trying to think of some other things that I've watched. What do you ever? I was just talking to my wife about this, about how do you have like videos or stuff you set out to make and like nothing happens, or like how many times have you gone out where you've with the intent to film and it's just been a scratch and
Yeah,
that's
so
it?
that happens quite often. I've been pretty slacking on my social media lately, just too much stuff going on in personal life right now.
Yep.
But like quite often I'll like go somewhere and film the video. I'll film the video and then it's just like I found nothing but trash. So I'll basically put it together. I'll take a photo of it, put it on Instagram,
Yep.
and that was my whole day, just one photo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like posting videos if I only find trash.
Yep.
It's just like it's just not that entertaining. Sometimes I will if it's like a specific event or something that we want to do a big cleanup at X place.
Yep.
But unless I find something, it's probably not going to make it into a video.
Yeah, I've done about 12 outings now the last 6 months where I've just gone out, haven't found anything. Sometimes, I mean, it's encouraging on one hand to not find garbage.
Yeah.
On the other end, it's how I'm making content in a way.
A couple of buddies of mine will go out and like do a cleanup dive, and we'll get there and clean like a handful of things, and we're like, hey, there's not much garbage here. And we're like borderline. We're like, are we mad that there's nothing to clean up, or are we happy that there's nothing to clean up?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, but it is kind of cool. Like, and I'm sure you've experienced this now. Is like there's a spot in the Halifax Harbor that I've been like 25 times, and I've taken out so much out of there. And now when I go there myself, like there's not really anything left. And I know a lot of stuff's probably buried in mud still, but I've taken out so much stuff, and it's kind of cool to start seeing the fruits of your labor, right? In a place where, it's not a very easily public accessible. So it's a lot of older garbage. And I know a lot of places you go, I think more people frequent.
So in the summer, like some of the lakes, especially Cultus Lake, I kind of end up having a bit of a routine where once a week, I go to one spot. Yep. Next week, I go to the next spot. And then by the time I finish, it's been a month. And then I'll go start at the first spot again and kind of work around. And yeah, the amount of garbage is just ridiculous in that lake. But one thing that's, again, I don't know if I like or hate, is recently I've been finding, at least since last summer here, finding a lot more people diving and doing the garbage cleanups.
Yep.
So I go down there and there's like various people that are either scuba diving or swimming around snorkeling, and they're picking up trash. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But then like I can't go to that spot now because it's like there's nothing for me to clean up. And I'm like,
yeah. How often, like on the recovery side of things, like how often do you get contacted for like phones, watches, keys, rings?
It really varies. Like it's funny, last year after Christmas, I guess a lot of people got brand new toys. And I had like a whole bunch of people saying, hey, I crashed my RC boat. So I went and got that for somebody. Somebody lost their drone. It crashed into a tree. I went and got that because it fell down this river. And other people, I just couldn't get to them because there's varying places around BC. So I get people messaging me all over the place. I actually have a screenshot of last week. Somebody messaged me. Sometimes I get really weird ones like this where this guy's like, hey, I lost my phone. Can you come find it for me? I'm like, yeah, where are you at? He lives in India. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? He's like, come up and find it for me. I'm like no. Like, I had a guy a while ago ask me if I could come find his phone in a pond or something. And I'm like, sure, where you at? And he like sends me a map and this lake. And I'm like, where is this? And I like zoom out and it's in Texas. And I'm like,
oh man, yeah.
I get it fairly often. I haven't in a little while, I guess. Right? There's always targets that like I know, like somebody say, hey, if you're ever at this lake, can you look here? And it's most of them are like, I'm never gonna be there unless I specifically go there for you. It's like 2-3 hour drive for me. I'm kind of like, it's like a phone, and it's been there for 2-3 months already. It's probably toast.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
it's not really worth the drive for me.
I learned a lesson the hard way. I ask a lot more questions now if someone wants me to
Yeah,
recover something.
yeah.
So back in last summer, someone was like, "Yeah, I lost my drone at this beach outside of Halifax," and I was like, "Oh, cool. Whereabouts did you think you lost it?" He points it out. I'm like, "All right, cool. Thanks. I'll go try to find it." It's like I couldn't find it, and I was like, "It must have got the tide. Like tides take stuff out, right?" So
Yeah.
it's probably long gone. And after I get out, I'm like, "Sorry, man, I couldn't find it." And I was like, just curious, when did you lose it? He's like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh, I felt like such an idiot just wasting that time. But anyway, lesson learned.
yeah. Yeah, like Mish says, like just like Canada and Australia, Canada's huge, right? So some
Yeah,
people like, yeah, I live in BC too, but I'm like, some places in BC, I could drive in the same province and it's like a 20-hour drive away.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
northern BC, like it's like far.
yeah.
Or I
We're on
get
this.
people that lose stuff on Vancouver Island, and like I go there fairly often, but for
Yeah,
me to get from here to a place in Vancouver Island, it's at least 4 or 5 hours, and the ferry ride's like going to cost me like $75 each way, and I'm like, then I might not even find your like Apple Watch or whatever it is, and it's just like
yeah.
I can't really
What
justify it, man.
what's your ratio of find? Like, is there times where you just can't find it?
That's hard. So I obviously have a better luck, or so not obviously, but I have better luck finding an item first and then getting it back to the owner.
Okay.
I find that a bit easier. And the issue with finding stuff that people lose, usually they're in a panic. Like they don't normally just drop it for fun.
Yeah.
So I've had quite a few, like it's probably 50-50.
Okay.
It's the, like you're saying, the info that you get can sometimes be very misleading.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, hey, what I've started doing recently is I'll only go search for the object if the person comes to the location with me. Because too often I've had like, hey, it's like, 20 feet from this spot. And then I go there and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'll like video chat with them, and they'll like point out like, and it's like 200 feet from where they said. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
what are you talking about? Like,
I'll just say my little comment, and then I'll get to Mish's question here. But yeah, I went and found a phone for a couple, looked for a phone for like a half hour at the spot that they said they fell over in their sea-doo at night.
oh, I won't do open water. I just will not do open water.
Okay.
I will not look for something in open water. Yeah.
Well, this was on a beach line, but they brought their sea-doo like close to shore, and then the guy spun it and it flipped out of his pocket and went in about 6 feet of water. And I went to the area, to the radius that they said it fell, and I couldn't find anything. And then I was like, I'm just going to look outside of where you think it fell. And I found it. And it was just, you're judged, like it's interesting when you lose something, you kind of try to remember where it was, but it could float a bit. It could drag. I don't know, a lot of things.
So yeah, like you're talking about like the location and stuff. I had a guy that he's like, hey, I lost my Apple Watch paddleboarding. I fell off here. And then I'm like, okay, so we went and looked. I'm like, hey, it's not here. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, do you know it fell off there? He's like, well, no, but I'm assuming it fell off when I fell in. I'm like, so it could be like anywhere where you paddleboarded. He's like, oh yeah, but it was only like this section. And I'm like looking at a map, like this is after I searched, and I'm like, man, like that's like 2 square kilometers. Like,
oh my goodness.
I've had a few of those where it's like huge areas, and they're like, it's in this half of the lake. I'm like, half of the lake? Like, what do you expect me to do?
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I can totally just relate to the pain.
People that lose stuff in over 100 feet of water, and I'm like, well, it's lost. Like,
yeah. All right, Mish is asking a question. Here we go. She's getting here. So explain to the non-Canadian, how far apart do you two live? I have a general idea of where Nova Scotia is, but not BC.
So basically, as far as you can be apart.
Yeah.
Like, he's on that coast, I'm on this coast. Like, as far as apart as you can get.
Yeah. If you look on a map, I think it's like a 5-hour flight or more or longer.
It's probably a 5-day drive if you did 24 hours not sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It takes a long time.
I'm curious. I'm just going to look it up how long the drive would be.
Sure. Well, I mean, Australia is pretty big. It's like, I'm sure yeah, it's like what she was saying. I get similar in Australia. People send me a post of a missing ring, and it'll be thousands of kilometers away on the other side of the country. I mean, I've got a couple things. Like Nova Scotia is a pretty one of the smallest provinces, so I've had people say like, I don't know, I've lost stuff in certain coves around the Maritimes, and I just don't have time to get to them. But also, like we have like the Bay of Fundy on one of our coasts, and it's just like one of the highest tides in the world, and it's dangerous.
I definitely want to go there. That'd be super cool.
It's cool, but it's dangerous to dive there because it rises and drops so incredibly fast that it can, suck you out.
So I just looked up here. The fastest way, and you have to go into the States and then out of the States and then back into the States, basically. Because from what it looks like here, it would take 56 hours straight driving. And it's 5,777 kilometers.
Holy. Well, so I guess if we're going to do a collab video, I better...
Meet in the middle.
Yeah, what's the middle? It'd be Ontario for us?
Manitoba, Ontario. Yeah, one of those two.
Oh my gosh. That would be fun to
Bay. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it goes without saying, if you ever make it out east, you have a place to stay and lots of areas to swim in. So
yeah, no, I would love to explore more of Canada. Even the States, like I said, I would want to do some more traveling. Or we could like both fly to Australia and meet her down there and
do some metal detecting.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too about, like, for the times you have gone to the ocean, I've thought about, I think we're going to Vancouver, and my wife and our kids and I for a friend's wedding in June, and I was wondering, like, is there like,
let's go.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. If they but the ocean, like around Stanley Park, would there be lots of stuff in that water there? Or
there probably is. You had mentioned that to me one day. It'd be probably a pretty cool place to check out. Yeah, I've never really done it there.
Okay. Just curious, because like they got the bridges there. You would have had, I mean, Stanley Park's been there forever, but people would have been chucking stuff in there probably, sadly, a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good spot to check out one day. I think there's a lot of boat traffic around it, so I'm not too sure how that would be.
That is the beauty of winter. Here, like now, it's safe for me to go to marinas and coves because there's no boats. And
the one crappy thing about winter here, you can relate, is last year I was doing a dive and it was -10 out.
Yep.
And I got out of the water, and my wetsuit, I was watching it crystallize and starting to freeze down my arm. And I was like, I need to get out of this right now, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get out in about 2 minutes. It was like the Batman Mr. Freeze kind of thing, where you could see the freeze starting to. Oh God!
I went on a dive in January, and it was, I think it was -7, and the water was 0 in the ocean. So it was like, it was cold, and I was in my 7, obviously, and like my 7 mil, and I was in for 20. I remember it was like 22 minutes, and all of a sudden, I remember my brain slowing down, and I was like. I just booked it right for shore, got out, got to my car and warmed up because I knew I was starting to freeze. And I mean, I was really close to shore, so I wasn't in any real danger, but it was...
So Mish was saying her climate's kind of similar to us, I guess?
Okay. Yeah, let's meet on the warm end of Australia. Where's the warm end of Australia? Like Sydney, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming it gets a lot colder here than it does where she is, and I'll still go diving, like I say, in the ice, and it's like I said, like -10 or. BC is one of the warmer provinces, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and your guys' weather pattern, like you guys get a lot more rain than we do.
Oh, we get so much rain.
Yeah. She's saying northern and Queensland. Yeah, we get a lot of rain, but like our winters are like just wet and cold. Like we get snow, and then it rains a ton. Then it freezes, and then it starts over. Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. Yep. Oh, Clay, I think you may have frozen there. Let's see if he can come back here in a second. All right. I think he's still there. All right. Hold on. We'll try and figure this out. His screen froze. We're going to try and bring him back in. While we're doing that, I'll just kind of say hey and thanks for everyone who's watched so far. Really appreciate it. And you're right, Mish. It froze on his grin, so that's pretty sweet. I have enjoyed really talking to him, and I'm hoping I can get him back here in a second. So we'll see. While we're doing that, I was trying to. And sorry for the TikTok intro at the beginning. We were trying to do a go live at the same time, and just didn't get it right. So maybe we'll do a separate conversation that way in the future. Okay. So what's the weekend plans up here? I'm hoping to maybe get to a dive. That would be great. And it's been cold though. I don't know. We'll see. Just hanging out with my kids and wife, and just kind of, I might go hang out with some friends. I don't know. Just when it gets colder, it's just a lot harder to kind of just get out. And the days are so short now. It's getting dark. And here I'm just getting Clay's just sending me a text here. So if you're still with me, yeah, he's just trying to connect right now. And his internet, I'm assuming, is down or something's happened. It's kind of like when you have, yeah, I feel like a talk show host now. I'm just trying to like fill up time. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get him back here. It's getting sunny there at 6 a.m. Days are getting long. Oh man, I'm so jealous. Okay. All right. All right. He's still trying to reconnect here, and hopefully we can get him back on. Ocean temp is 15 and rising. Our other day, Mish, I was in, and it was 11 degrees and dropping. And my hands were pretty red, even with all my gear on as I came out. But I don't know, it felt good. Like, it feels nice. Okay. Well, while we're waiting, oh, I'm getting a phone call here, guys. Oh, hey, man. Okay. Hold on here. Okay. All right, one sec. Wonder if I copy this link here. All right, I'm going to generate you a new link here. 1 second. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to get this sorted out here. Let's try this. Okay. I might have to exit out of this, guys, and try. Oh. Try a new link here. Let's see. He's got him. I had him on the phone there, and we're getting there. Let's go. Let's see here. Maybe I'll just cut this out in the rebroadcast. If not, that's fine. You guys can just fast forward it because I think YouTube is making this a video. So if you're at this point, just skip ahead till Calais comes back. Oh, heard something there. What do we got? How do I? All right. Oh, I think I got him here. Oh, there you are. Okay. There you are. I can hear you. It says your network connection is lower. Can you hear me? No, we're trying. We almost got him here. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. He's going back. We're going to try again. All right. We'll keep trying. I'm not sure what was going on with the connection. It says it's strong on my end, so maybe there's something on his end. Okay. It's all part of live video. There we go. Okay. Hey.
There we go.
Hey.
I moved into my other room, I guess, to see if I'm
Okay.
close with Wi-Fi, but my laptop said it was fine, so I might have just been too far away for that much streaming stuff.
Maybe, yeah, because it says now on my end your network connection is 10 out of 10, and before it was like 0.
Yeah, I don't know. I just moved into my other room again, so.
Okay, cool. Where were we? I was like just filling up time. I felt like a like a talk show host.
No, we're just talking about the distance, like how far away we actually live.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, Canada's massive country, right? Like just you really are so far away. You're so far away that you're 4 hours behind me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So today you mentioned you have today off and yes, tomorrow maybe? Or
No, so I work the next 4 days.
okay, so are you going to be going out today for a dive, do you think?
I can't really dive right now. So with all that flooding, everything's just like awash.
Right.
Every lake around me is just big mud puddles.
Okay.
And the ocean is it's so far away, and I have to drive through some flood areas. It's just not great right now.
Right.
And Mish, I think it's just I'm like in my living room, and my router is kind of in this room I'm in right now. So I think it was just too distance for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So you have mentioned to me that you have found some old bottles. I mean, because I do find a lot of old bottles myself. And I know like the history goes back a little further on our coast, but that's not to say there's not old things that you've come across.
Yeah, so I mean, there are some older stuff if I go towards the ocean, but kind of where I am, there's not a lot of like modern stuff. Like I was saying, there's a lot of First Nations stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know there's a sunken canoe that we think is a couple hundred years old, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got one, but it's kind of in an area that it's really preserved, and we don't really want a lot of people knowing about.
Yeah.
So I don't really film that kind of stuff, just because there's going to be someone that wants to like rip it out and do something with it. I don't know, like a museum or something. So
there's always those type of people who will kind of go after the fact and maybe not do things properly. Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking too, like, so with you do a lot more free dive. We talked about your free diving, your ability to dive, but you dive deep, which is amazing, and you have some cool, like, you go spear fishing, which I don't think we've actually talked about. That's something I've not done before.
Here, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab some of the stuff I have to show you there.
Okay, awesome. All right. So he's going to get some stuff. This time he'll come back, which is great. Okay. We're at minute 49. I wonder if I can edit some of the dead air after the fact with this and reload this. I know YouTube's just going to, I think they're just going to upload it right away so people can watch it.
So I had some stuff laid out where it was, but I had to grab it. So you're talking about older bottles.
Yep.
The oldest thing I think I found is this one, and apparently it's the BC bottle guy, Vancy Balls there, was saying this is probably from 1910 or so.
Yep.
That's one of my oldest ones. But I try not to hoard too much stuff. So what I've decided to do is I'm only going to keep bottles and stuff that's made in BC.
Okay.
So this one's BC Breweries. This is a brewery out of Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a Vancouver brewery from like, I don't know, 1900 sometime. And then BC Distilleries. I have a couple of these.
Oh, cool.
So there's some pretty cool designs on, but you can't really see them too well on the camera there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're talking about spearfishing.
Yeah.
You can do that where you are, right? Like if you wanted to.
I have to check the rules. Honestly, I don't honestly know. I think there's a lot of things that are protected out here, like scallops, lobsters.
Yeah.
Stuff
we
like
have
that.
very similar stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of people make their livelihood. So I don't do anything like that. But
it's one of those things that you have to do. I don't know if you do normal fishing, like with a rod, but I find fishing with a fishing rod so boring now. So my new toy that I've only had for a little while now is this awesome thing. So it's just my GoPro mount there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is my spear gun.
Holy. It looks like a James Bond villain weapon.
Pretty much, right? Yeah. So it's just like.
Okay. And what are the rule? Like, what's the rules around spearfishing there?
There's very limited freshwater spearfishing. I think carp is about the only thing. It has to be non-game fish, is how it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, so carp, but not many people really eat carp. You can apparently. I just think they kind of taste muddy. There's like a bottom eating fish, really.
Yep. Okay.
But so for the ocean, there's going to be two main kinds you can fish for. You're going to have lingcod, which is by far my favorite fish. And then there's a whole bunch of different species of rockfish. So like black rockfish, coppers, China. There's a whole bunch of different rockfish, and those are fairly open. Each area you fish, so there's tons of different regions. It's going to really determine if you can or can't fish or what your limits are. And then on the Vancouver coast, it's pretty prohibited for lingcod or any sort of shellfish. Okay. But it really varies when you go to the Vancouver coast or the Vancouver Island coast.
Right. And how long have you been doing this for?
I just started like earlier this summer. Brand new to me, but it's awesome.
Yeah. That's something that's just like that's what I was saying. You have a variety of things that you've kind of done with your channel, and it seems like you kind of alluded, like, I wonder if how many people you've kind of inspired to kind of go and clean up too, right? Which is what I'm hoping is happening on my end.
For sure. Yeah. I've met a bunch of cool people, and I try not to do this anymore because I've had a couple kind of iffy experiences, I guess.
Okay.
Taking people out that watch my channel. I used to be like, yeah, let's go out, let's go swimming, diving, whatever. But I've had a couple instances where people over exaggerate their abilities, if you will. Okay. Or don't tell me certain things. And without knowing really the skills of a person and just going out like, hey, let's go to the ocean, let's go swimming, let's go diving in these big waves that you don't know what you're doing. It can be dangerous, and it's one of those liability things that it's kind of a little bit much for me sometimes. Yes.
Yeah. I've had people ask to go with me, and I just politely say, like, I don't really do that. People like, can you do like events where you take a whole bunch of people out snorkeling it's just not, it's not my interest, and I'm just afraid of something happening.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like liability is insane.
Yeah. Like, I trust myself. And then the people I do dive with are, scuba divers typically, or people that I know can, who have basically what it takes. Not to say that no one can do it, but there's just a lot of things to factor in with with doing this, and especially with water. So yeah, man. Well, I was curious, like, was there anything that you wanted to kind of talk about and chat about? We've almost been going for an hour.
Yeah. I think one thing you should do for your channel is you should start looking into varying companies that would like to sponsor you with their products, honestly. Yeah. Or just varying gear. So Bouchot, the fins and everything I have, it's all sponsored through a company called Bouchot. And then I also do a lot of stuff with diving sports in BC. Okay. So it's the free diving shop. So yes, owners there is pretty cool.
They actually, I'm pretty sure they're the right people, but they were going to send me a suit last year, but it never happened. So I don't think it's any fault of anyone. It happened around the same time that I got given a suit. So they were they had reached out and said one company was going to give me a suit, and then it just never happened. But that's fine.
So the owner there's a buddy of mine, and you should definitely look into the open cell suits. They're far warmer, I find.
Okay. I would like to have some new gear because like I've kind of like a Frankenstein of gear. I just kind of patched it together and bought just like used fins or
all my stuff used to be used.
Yeah. I did invest in a nice solid hood. And then I've got the suit and I got some good gloves, but man, like, I don't know what's your wear and tear on these things? Like, do you have to get them repaired a lot or?
So my socks, I go through socks fairly often, probably one pair every 4 or 5 months, I guess.
Yep.
My gloves, the last pair I had was actually fantastic, but when I was putting it on, I actually ripped the cuff right off. So I wrecked that one. The newest pair of gloves I have, like the last I've had for the couple times there, have been awesome. Again, this is Bushot gear. But I've had some cheaper gloves. I used to get the ones off Amazon, the Kevlar front ones.
Yep.
And they were pretty good, but I found the fingertips, because a lot of the stuff we do, you're touching stuff, grabbing things. Most diving stuff, you're never supposed to touch stuff, right?
Right.
Snorkeling and scuba diving, you just want to observe. So gear lasts a lot longer than this that we're going to use.
Yeah. No, I don't really like, and it's the best of my ability. Like, I don't, touch any sea life. And I don't really I'm really just trying to remove stuff as carefully as I can. But it's in a lot of mud and silt. And then that is one more thing to consider is like, I don't know what's underneath that when I'm reaching in. So
my fear is always like kind of reaching into mud and then getting my glove or hand like hooked on like something
yeah. Have you have you cut yourself bad yet or?
Not overly. I've definitely been hooked by some hooks in the river. So this is one of the reasons I say I don't like swimming in the river alone.
Yeah.
The amount of fishing that happens in the Better River is like a lot. I have a couple of videos of me like swimming and all of a sudden there's like a hook that like has been snagged and there's like hooks floating in the river.
Yeah.
And the hook will like go into my leg or something. And it's not great.
Do you carry a knife with you?
Yeah. I always have a knife on me. I used to carry them on my wrist.
Yeah.
But the reason I found like what happens if my left wrist gets caught and now I can't get my knife out. Like
right. Yeah.
Belt so that I can grab it from either arm.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, it's I've got a knife as well. I don't take it with me all the time, but usually I put it away.
Always have it on you. You just never know, right?
Right. Yeah, there is a lot of old fishing line and gear in the ocean. Oh, here we go. We got some Adam Brown Adventures. What's up, guys? Oh man, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. Do you know this guy?
Yeah. He's a bit closer to. I'm just gonna. Sorry, I had two screens going in the living room there, but
okay. So Adam, he's just been recently kind of like he was involved from what I saw. Bunch of cars, like they pulled a bunch of cars and out of this like lake or river down the States somewhere. It's just like that's like a whole nother level to me.
Yeah, that'd be something pretty sweet. I've done that a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry, is my thing frozen again?
Nope.
Oh no, sorry. I just opened it up and it has that delay. Yeah, so there's definitely a few places that I know where there are some cars.
Okay.
It'd be pretty interesting to try and get those out of location.
With cars though, like I only know of one lake with a car in it around here. But it's not always I don't know, a car in a lake, is it always nefarious or is it
I would say the oil and gas in it is probably the worst part.
Yeah, leaking into the lake. Oh, we got Tom here. He's one of my big fans on the channel. Hey, Sean, just seen the notice. Thought I would drop in to say hello. So hello at the Midtown Tavern having supper before the Mooseheads game tonight. Oh, man.
That's the most Canadian thing I've ever seen. Tavern, Mooseheads game.
It's awesome. Tom's the man. He's just like, he always leaves like really thoughtful, long comments on my videos and watches them. And that's one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on too, is the community of like people like ourselves on YouTube. Like it's kind of, I don't know. I can relate to so many people and the passions are so varied. Like and it's like opened my eyes. Yeah, I like doing kind of a more specific water-based thing, but I also like watching metal detecting or magnet fishing. Or I know you sent me a magnet this summer because I had a tiny baby one.
Yeah.
But it's like we're all doing different things, but there's a lot of people, it's kind of all the same thing. We're all in many ways like just cleaning up stuff.
Yeah, that's one thing that I kind of struggle with. I have I don't have ADHD, but I probably do.
Okay.
So when you try to do one thing too much, I get really bored with it.
Yep.
So I like to do all these like different things. I think magnet fishing is honestly probably one of my least favorite things. It's just kind of boring.
Yep.
What I did a couple times, and I found it way more productive.
Yep.
There's a couple of docks and stuff that I know there's a lot of coins underneath all the time.
Yeah.
And so rather than throwing the rope in, I just held the magnet in my hand and just dove down and just kind of like rubbed it around the ground. It was pretty productive, but you can't see anything when you start rubbing the ground. It just
that's funny. That is such a diver thing to say. Yeah, I had a magnet. The one before I lost it, the one that you sent me, my boys, I went to like this wharf in a place called Bedford, and first cast in, it gets caught in a rock, and I couldn't get it out, so I had to drive my boys home, get in my dive gear, drive back, dive down like I think it was around 20 feet, go down, unhook it, bring it back up, and then we go again, and it gets hooked again, and then I just left it. I was like, I'm done. And then a scuba diver went and got it for me.
Nice. There is a very large magnet. I don't know what ever happened to this channel. So when I first started out, there's a couple of channels that I used to talk to a little bit, or locally, like magnet fishing and stuff. And this is one channel that they lost their magnet, and I was like, oh, I'll go get it for you. And I go to the spot, and it was a little sketchy. It was very, very dirty water. So it was in the Fraser, and I knew it was, but I was hoping it was kind of in an okay spot.
Yeah.
So the Fraser River, you probably don't know, but it's very dirty brown.
Yeah, and like lots of iron in it.
Just mud everywhere.
Oh, okay, mud. Yeah,
large river.
Yep.
And the spot that they were showing me, it looked just deadly to dive. Like there was going to be trap hazards. Like I mean, just anybody diving in the Fraser River ever.
We have some spots like that around here. Some mouths, like some rivers flowing into the ocean. I was in one recently, and it's like the water was just like dark, full of iron, lots of mud, and like I don't do that very often. Like I'll kind of stick close to shore with stuff like that. I thankfully haven't been injured, but I only dive deep when I can see like all the way down. If I know like there's no way I'll ever just go like, not like scuba where you can slowly descend and kind of watch where you're going. There's just a lot of places around here where the visibility is either really good or it's like poor, super poor.
So I posted a video from a week or two ago, I guess now.
Yep.
And so I left my dive light at my buddy's house, and he lives like really far away, so he's gonna mail it to me. But so I didn't have my dive light, and I went to the spot to do a recovery, and the guy was like, "Oh, it's 25 feet deep, the water." And I get there, and I'm kind of looking down. I'm like, "This is a pretty deep, 25 feet."
Yeah.
And, so I jump in and I dive down. I have my watch and tells me how deep I am.
Yep.
So I go down to about 35 feet, and I still can't see the bottom. And I'm like, "What the heck?" So I come to the surface. And I'm like, "Hey, man, like that's like a lot deeper than 25 feet. And I'm like, "All right, I'm just giving me a minute. I'm going to see how deep it is." And I dive down. And after about 30 feet, it just starts getting black, like just pitch black. And so I dive down, and then I hit the bottom so I dive down with my hand straight like this. And right before my hand hits the bottom, I see the bottom. And it's just like, it's kind of like you're like squinting, like just moonlight barely. Like, and I'm trying to find this phone. I'm like, kind of like looking around. I'm like 47 feet deep. Like,
holy.
So I end up like coming to the surface, and I'm like, man, like this is way deeper than you said it was going to be. So it kind of turns out it's a very high tide, and a very low tide is 25 feet.
Oh,
super high tide.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. So I tried for a few times, but I don't generally look for objects once it's like more than 40 feet, just because I can't stay down for very long, like I'm saying.
No. Well, the one you posted one where diving in the dark, basically.
Yeah, and I pull up a flip phone. That's the one thing I found there. But yeah, no, it's like just pitch black, and you might as well just close your eyes. It gets dangerous though, because if you have your if you can't
Yeah.
see, it's kind of you can tell, but it's not easy to like know which way's up, which way's left or
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Have you ever encountered have you had any encounters with like wildlife underwater, like sea life or lake life I mean, I love your videos with the salmon.
Yeah, I love doing that. That's really fun.
That looks just like so much fun to me.
Yeah. One of
But
my favorite things to do.
when you've been in the ocean, have you been like seals or stuff like that?
So, like I said, I don't dive a ton in the ocean, but one of our trips, or I've done this a couple times actually, where we're spearfishing and I'll have a couple of fish on my belt that I just shot, and they're still like potentially bleeding, and there'll be this like 600-pound or more sea lion that swims like 10 feet underneath me, and I'm like, oh god, take the fish, take the fish.
Oh man, yeah. A lot of people ask me like, "Aren't you afraid of sharks, Sean?" And just like, no, I always say I'm afraid of boats.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Humans in boats, like sharks I'm probably fine.
How's the shark life around where you are? Like I don't. We have sharks here, but not really.
There's great whites off the coast of Nova Scotia. They come up with the Gulf Stream. Okay. There was one recently sighted by a diver. Swam right past. It was in the news recently. Swam past a diver, kind of further out from Halifax, but enough that I was just like, okay. I don't fear sharks, but I definitely respect them to,
Yeah, so I don't really have sharks here. Far off of our coast. So like most of the diving that people do is between Vancouver and Vancouver Island. Along there, and then you go off the coast of Vancouver Island, and if you go out a ways, I've heard there's sharks there, but in the interior, they're like between where most people dive, there's not really. We have like mud sharks or dogfish, they call them, and they're like the biggest one you'll see is like maybe 3-4 feet long.
Yeah,
and
okay,
yeah, they're not going to do anything.
Have you ever been like? I don't want to take up too much of your time. I don't know what your time is.
I have nothing to do today at all.
Okay, cool. I wanted to ask too, have you ever been like with all the diving you do, have you ever been like contacted or have you had to do anything from the police to do anything, or you found stuff that you had to go to the police about or anything like that?
Yeah. So do you know, I don't know. I don't talk about this ton, but do you know what I do for work actually?
I don't.
So I actually work at a police station.
Oh, okay.
All right. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much online, but
okay.
Yeah, so I have found one gun once, and yeah, I brought it in and they looked it up. I've been emailing back and forth trying to get the Freedom of Information Act, so I can actually be public and say what the gun is from. Because of my work, I actually know. I just can't publicly like talk about it, which kind of sucks.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, so I found a gun in Chilliwack Lake, and it had like the box of bullets and stuff like that. It was just a 22 handgun. Yeah. But yeah, it was super cool. So I had to turn that in, and I'm still waiting. I want to make a video about it, but I can't. Yeah, my experience with that, with the gun I found, I couldn't, like that video I shared wasn't the day that I found it. It was like a week and a half later. Yeah. Because I wanted to do, even though it was rusted and like there were no prints or serial on it, it was still a weapon. And it was sawed-off shotgun, and the RCMP officer, like, I just wanted, my first time doing something like that, I was like, okay, I think I should just call the RCMP. And they sent an awesome officer out, and he came and took it, and he did try to get it back for me after it was determined they couldn't figure it out, but they destroyed it. I don't know what that means. Did they actually destroy it, or is it in the locker somewhere? No, they'll like cut it up eventually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but like, I can't talk about the one I have.
I know. I won't press. I'm not trying to press.
No, as soon as I will make a video one day. And yeah, it's kind of cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, learning all these new things about you while we're talking. Yeah, but no, that's really cool. Like, just watching, I just get inspired watching you doing stuff, and I kind of like feel that kinship, like here. Like I'm one of I know there's a lot of scuba divers here in Nova Scotia, but I'm like kind of one of the only YouTubers doing this kind of thing.
A pretty cool group of like scuba divers, free divers that make videos out here now. You've probably seen. I know you talked to Chris.
Yep.
So PW Chris. So he's a buddy of mine, and we dive every once in a while. He
Yeah.
just again lives a little ways away from me.
Yep.
When I've,
And he's from here.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and his videos are cool. And like that, I've been trying to think like, what else can I do to kind of add some variety to stuff? Because a lot of people like, can you do videos on sea life out here and other things? And I don't know, I've been kind of more singularly focused on just checking out. Every time I drive by a cove, I'm just like, make a note. Okay, I'm gonna get here at some point. A lot of people have invited me on their private property to access the water,
Nice.
which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a kayak, so I can get to places faster now. And then I can fill up my kayak with, junk.
Yeah. So I have one of those open top kayaks. And so I don't know would you have something like that or?
No, I've got, I don't remember. I think open top is like, it's just like the big open.
You just sit on top of it. You don't go inside.
Oh no, I've got one you sit into, and yeah.
So the reason I have a smaller one that's you sit inside of it, but the reason I got that open top one is I can go out into open water and I can get on and off of it no problem.
Oh, that sounds nice, because I find like if I ever want to try and get back in it,
you gotta go to shore basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You can, but it's a little sketchy.
It's good for holding a lot of stuff like in it, but.
So I'll send you a link later. I've made a couple of videos that we call it like the trash yak, and we'll just basically make a huge barge, and it'll just be piled full of trash, because the entire thing of it you can put trash on. Like it's Yeah.
Have you been to like these lakes, and have you seen people like litter in front of you and then you just go get it?
I'm a little how do you want to say that, or how do I want to say this? Forward sometimes with people. So I was walking down to a dock one day, and while I was walking down, there was another group of people, like 4 or 5 people, drinking beers. And I was like, do your thing, whatever. And then I was like scooting up on the side of the dock, and I look in the water and I see this can floating by me. And I look up and they're drinking the same brand of beer.
Yeah.
I reach over in the water, grab it, walk over to them, throw it to their feet, and I'm like, hey, I think you dropped this. Like, just like a little savage. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, the wind. And I'm like, uh-huh.
Yeah, right. Oh, you probably have more guts than I do. I'm a little more.
I don't do that often, but like sometimes I'm just like,
oh man, yeah, it's a lot of like. So I was going to ask you this too. People ask me this a lot. It's like, what do you do with all of it? Like, do you have like, sometimes I don't have the luxury of trash cans anywhere near me or places. So I fill up my giant, like I have a fish box now that I have, a big gray container, and I fill it with all my bottles and plastic and garbage, and then I dispose of it at my home. Sometimes I'll get lucky and I'll be like right near like recycling centers or, but for the most part, like people like, what do you do with it? And I take it all.
So with the recycling stuff, how do you find, sometimes here, the recycling depots don't like all the really dirty cans and bottles.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times we actually have to take them to the dump.
Yeah. I've, in my experience, I've taken bottles that, I did rinse them out at home. They were still dirty and they smelled terrible, but I took them to a recycling depot and it was like, no problem.
Yeah.
I have had bags turned away sometimes at our curb, just because it's not like I'll put some bottles in that have some stuff still on them, and they're just like, you can kind of see it and they won't take it, but at other times they will. The plastic and garbage is the easiest thing to get rid of.
So for me, we have a few different ways to do this. Often when I'm diving with the divers for Clean Lakes and Oceans, like Henry's group there, we'll talk to the park boards.
Yep.
And basically we just have to get to the shore and we'll put a big pile on the shore and they'll come down and the park boards will come clean it themselves.
Okay. Nice. Yep.
If I'm just doing it with one of my buddies, he works for the city and in the environmental department, and he'll get a free dump pass. So we'll just fill up a vehicle and we'll just take it to the dump ourselves and the city will pay for it.
Okay.
And then other than that, if I'm just doing a small one by myself, most of my dives are kind of in very public areas where a lot of new trash.
Yeah.
So depending on how much I get, I'll either just dump it all in their garbage can. I'll
Yep.
put a couple bags outside of their garbage cans, and like the parks workers will just come clean it when they're emptying the garbage cans.
Yep.
If it's a lot of like cleaner, newer cans and bottles, I'll take them to the depot myself.
Yeah, right.
It kind of depends on my area, really.
That's nice. That's nice to have that option. Yeah, because I've had so many drives home, and it just reeks.
Yeah.
And it's like, and my suit stinks. Everything is gross.
Yeah, most of the time I only take home like kind of cool stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff just gets kind of put in garbage cans or recycling areas around where I'm diving.
Yeah, I go through purges every couple months, and my garage is just right over there, and like I'll just clear out half my stuff. Anything that's anything that's kind of older or a museum might be interested in, I'll send them a picture and see if that's something they would want. Oh, is my quality's starting to drop there a bit. Hold on. Network, can you hear me okay? Okay. Go on here. Just kind of glitching on me there again, buddy. Okay. Oh. Are you still there, man? Okay, cool. No, it just looks like you're frozen on my screen. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, like I've oh, there you go. Clay's connection just dropped, so we're going to try and get him back in again. Hope all of you watching right now have enjoyed my conversation. I've been wanting to talk to Clay for a really long time. He's someone I've been inspired by, and he does a lot of the same things that I do on YouTube, which is really cool. And it's been, really, really kind of fun to talk to him tonight. Hopefully I can get him back in. We'll see. And but if you've been watching this far, I just want to say thank you so much. It's trying to get these lives, a little more polished as best I can. Yeah, it's been fun. Okay, so it says it's frozen for him now. Let's see if we can get him back here. We're going to try and get him back, Tom. Let's see here. All right. What else here? Okay. Well, while we're waiting, and maybe I'll just show some of you guys watching a couple interesting things you may have missed on the last live. Oh, the magnetic squatch. Hey. Oh, hold on. I'm getting another phone call. Hey, man. Oh, did it? Okay. Well, I'm still streaming, but I was just kind of doing a sign off, and yeah. Yeah, we'll do a TikTok. For those watching still, I've got Clay on the phone. His computer is done. So I just want to say, thanks so much, man, for doing that. That was awesome. Yeah, and yeah, sweet. And maybe we'll set up a TikTok whenever you want. I'm good to go anytime. Yeah, this sounds great. All right, I'll talk to you later, man. I hope you have a good one. All right, take care, man. See ya. All right, that was Clay. His computer's done, and it was awesome having him on tonight. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to put it up on replay so you can watch it. Bear with me and Clay in some parts where the connections were a bit poor, and then at the beginning we were trying to stream to TikTok live, and it created some feedback. So I might try to. I'm going to try to trim that if I can, if YouTube allows me. But yeah, thanks so much again, and I hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you are in the world. Peace and love from Halifax, Nova Scotia.